What's up, guys? That Really Gross Guy here. We are back, and today I wanted to talk about Devstream 116, and that is because there are a number of things that I felt like were important for us to see. Some things we knew about that were, kind of just at some point we are going to need to talk about them, some of which we have speculations on, and now we have proof of, and some of which was just kind of... we didn't really think about it or know about it. Maybe there was a little bit of breadcrumbs or something like that, but it's out and we know something new basically. So with that said, we are going to jump right into it. One of those things that we kind of were expecting to happen, we just didn't know when, is the operator slots, which you can see here. As soon as they started implementing the Tenojin operator cosmetics, I was pretty much dead set on the idea that we were going to be getting operator appearance slots, and sure enough, here they are. I felt like if they were going to implement the new Tenojin stuff and not give us these slots was going to be a big mistake, because a lot of people want to explore their options and their their fashion framing with their operator, but with only one slot, a lot of people were like, but I really like the way my guy looks now, so I won't explore it because I don't want to mess up my colors or this or that. And I was definitely in that boat. I've had a Orican looking operator for quite a while, but after seeing a lot of this Tenojin stuff coming out, I was very excited to try out some new stuff, but I didn't want to mess up my stuff. But sure enough, here comes the operator slots, and we won't have to, which is exciting. Next up is Equinox Deluxe. So this is one of those things that we knew that at some point we were going to get, but who knows when, because you know how some of these have been in the works and have been taking a while. I'm looking at you, Zephyr. But anyways, Zephyr, we'll see you one day. But I mean, we got Vauban, we got Neja. We know Nyx is also going to go through the rework process as well. Or not the rework process. Well, hopefully a rework process. But we're going to be seeing her deluxe here soon. But Equinox is going to have to come through here at some point. So you're going to see this crazy amalgamation of all sorts of stuff. And you might be wondering, what the heck is going on? So for all the one-winged angel fans, Final Fantasy reference, check. We have a angel with a one wing. We have an angel demon samurai hybrid. So crazy, but it kind of makes sense going with the idea that Equinox is essentially 3 different frames. Now, I know a lot of you guys are saying, no, Equinox is 2 different frames. Yes and no. Equinox is 2 different frames. Separately, they're 2 frames, and then when they are combined, they are a 3rd frame. And you're saying, no, they're just 2 frames combined. What I'm trying to say is the artists have to create and design the day frame, the night frame, and the combined frame. So they have to do 3 different designs for technically 2 frames that combine into one. So with that said, this is it. You can see definitely some hints of the samurai aesthetic over on the far left with the arms, the waist area, the guard, whatever you want to call it, and the legs. Definitely looking pretty cool. The middle one, to me, looks very much demonic. Has that demonic kind of look and feel. It definitely has these... I can't really tell what's going on with the hand deals. It looks like she's got spikes thrusting out of her hands or something. Anyways, and then up on the chest looks like this swirly, almost infested-y look. But anyways, it's going with the demon look, almost like a bat wing across the one arm and chesticle. And definitely the helmet you can see has samurai aesthetics to them. So, and of course, I don't really have to point out the wing, but I mean, it's there. So, angel. There it is. Looking, I think it looks good, but I'm really curious as to how they're going to pull off this design, because it is 3 designs in one. But then again, they have really impressed me with the last few deluxe skins. So, I am, I'm holding out hope that this will be fantastic. So, following that, we're talking about frames and designs and all that cool stuff, so why not talk about Chroma Prime? That's right, this is the one that we were speculating on, because this has been dragging on for a while now. Don't worry, I stole that pun from, I think it was Steve that mentioned that. But Dragon Frame Chroma Prime, looking pretty cool. I like it. Rebecca happened to just play as Chroma and fail to mention the new thing that was sitting in front of us that whole time on the Devstream until, like, I don't know, 20 minutes in. Anyways, so here it is, back of Chroma now, and with that, you can see there is also the Rubico Prime has basically been spoiled for us to be the primary weapon coming with Chroma. I'm assuming coming with Chroma unless for some reason they postpone it, but you never know. That's what I'm just saying. You never know when it comes to this stuff. But we also know the Gram Prime is going to be a thing, which we were shown on TennoCon. So that will be coming at some point as well. So moving on to Venus. Venus, we're going to be seeing remasters of the Venus tile set. And you can see over to the left, the just absolute extra detail in the doors and the openness, in the tile sets. It's just, you can see it just a complete overhaul for the tile set itself on Venus. You can see on the right, it looks like they're going to be taking away you see a lot in Warframe of corridors and rooms that look like they have really no use whatsoever. They don't really make sense. They might have like lockers in them or something like that, but you're like, what was this room used for? It doesn't make sense. So it looks like to some degree they're going to be eliminating some of that, and you can see the room on the right has gone from just this amalgamation of just stuff being in the way to almost like a command center looking area where there's computers and some sort of hologram deal in the middle. There's stuff around, stuff that's not really cramping the area, making it just like hard to traverse, but actually looks like it's being used. It's lived in, or at least used for corpus reasons. It's, exploration, science, whatever. So next up is going to be another quick look. Giant open door. So you're going to be seeing some more openness, kind of like I was saying, and you can see a big example of that on the right. You remember that giant lava magma cylinder of doom in the Corpus tile set? Well, it looks like that room is going to be remastered into kind of this giant open area where I'm assuming they're using the heat from Venus or something to maybe power something in this building or this ship or whatever. Looks pretty interesting. I'm not too sure, exactly what this room would be used for, but it definitely looks like it has some sort of significant use. You can also see that because of this openness, we will probably see more parkour mechanics in this Venus tile set. You can see there's like a platform way off in the distance down a little bit below. It looks like there are also areas where you can probably jump down to that, are there for parkour reasons. So that looks pretty interesting as well. There was a little bit of a sneak peek that Steve showed of Venus previously. There was a little bit of gameplay, and it definitely looked like there was a lot more openness and parkour, traversal to be done in Venus besides these tiny little corridors. Speaking of small corridors, you can see the one on the left where you just got these lockers kind of just out there, kind of ready to be plundered. Just this, I don't know, like this corridor that you're supposed to be walking down, and then you can see the remaster. This one looks a little like it's been cramped in a little bit more, but you can definitely see they're trying to create this detail and aesthetic where you can see the lockers are actually pushed back, so they're not like out in the open and in the way. It looks like this is actually thought through in terms of design, and especially the corpus are all about science and all that stuff, so I'm sure efficiency is probably a big deal. So it makes sense that they would kind of tuck these things away and make this thing a little bit more clean. So, and then on the right you can see the room you guys have probably seen a number of times on the Venus tile set. Looking pretty cool. Definitely got a big change. You got that big open window, which almost looks like it's like an observation deck, which they have, for instance, in like surgery rooms where there's people observing a surgery that's going on, open heart surgery, whatever. But these are corpus, so they're more scientific, more engineers and stuff like that. So it might just be the aesthetic choice for their windows, or it may have some sort of reason for being there. But you can see a little bit more open, a little bit more creative, a lot more detail in this. And then lastly, single picture for the remaster is this giant open, what seems to be like a blast door for the Corpus tile set. And once again, just extra detail, extra, going above and beyond to show some detail and aesthetically pleasing looks for the Corpus. I believe this was mentioned to be like a Corpus bridge, or where ships would come in and out of like a loading bay of some sort, and I could see that being possible. But you can see that because there's going to be a lot of openness to part of this tile, I'm assuming you're going to be able to look down and see Venus. You're going to be able to see, the exterior of these ships or these buildings, down to the Venus surface or something like that, which would be pretty cool. And then, because we're speaking of Venus, let's just kind of roll with that. And the Venus open world map, which was really cool. This was kind of pulled up while Rebecca was kind of exploring and doing stuff, but we now have a good idea of the size of Venus itself. They did mention and show the coolant lake at TennoCon, and we've seen it a number of times since then. But the coolant lake is that giant open lake that we see as soon as we come out of Fortuna. Fortuna is pretty much smack dab in the middle where that arrow is, and then right out front is that giant lake with the Orokin Tower that is basically in ruins right out front. Looks super cool, looks pretty awesome. And then if you follow the bottom side of that lake over to that research base, that is the research base that we got to see at TennoCon. We also got to see more of that in this Devstream itself, and we will talk about that in just a few moments. But you can definitely see the size of the map. You can see a lot of different areas with placeholder names. So some of these names I'm assuming will change, and some may not, which would be pretty cool. Because there's like the Nef's head, that's probably going to change to something a little bit more, makes sense. But then there's the Shrine of the Prophet, Ustria Crater. So there's different stuff in there. But definitely getting a good idea of what the map will look like, including, which I don't know if they really meant to show these, but the caves. You can see a number of caves scattered across the map, and I don't know if these are all the caves. I don't know if these are, if Rebecca found all the caves, or if this is, it is the dev build, so it probably just shows them all by default. So, spoiler, you may not want to, take a hard look at this map if you want to find all these caves for yourself, but there are a number of them scattered all over the place. And with that said, I wanted to talk about the scale of this map, and I'll try to blow through this as quickly as possible, but I think that they mentioned this map was going to be 7 times the size of the Plains of Eidolon, and to me, it doesn't quite look like that is the case. They mentioned that maybe you could fit the Plains of Eidolon in, on top of that giant coolant lake, and maybe that's true, but I kind of find it a little bit hard to believe, because that, Plains of Eidolon is not massive, but it definitely seems larger than that space. So I feel like this top section of the map is maybe 4 times the size of the Plains of Eidolon. Maybe that's the number. Maybe that's what they're actually shooting for. I don't know. But I do want to say that based on the number of these caves, as well as the little bit of exploration we got to see when Rebecca went into this research base, I feel like with the extra space added with these caves and these bases, we could be seeing a significantly larger map than the Plains of Eidolon. All that extra space is more deep, maybe than the Plains of Eidolon was. And I would love to see these caves be a lot more expansive than the ones we saw in the Plains of Eidolon as well, because they were a little bit, they left more to be desired, in my opinion. But I would love to see, a whole lot of extra put into this map. But anyways, I've also speculated that maybe the Plains of Eidolon will get some sort of expansion in the future, but who knows? I mean, they have so much to work on, many more open worlds to come, so we'll just have to wait and see. When it comes to the Orokin ruins that we mentioned right in the middle of the coolant lake, you can see them pretty much here. I won't dwell on them too much, but they did mention that the way Venus rotates. Venus rotates at approximately 243 Earth days. So what I mean by that is it takes 24 hours for the Earth to go through its full cycle, day and night. Venus takes 243 Earth days to go through its 1 day cycle. So I'm curious if DE is going to explore that. If we just backtrack very quickly to that map, we do see over on the right a day-night cycle, a morning, it says morning there, but we do have the day cycle over there showing us when is day and when is night. Because Venus rotates so slowly, I'm wondering if, number one, how are they going to explore that? I know that the Earth cycle has been shrunk from, the 24 hours to like an hour in Warframe, which is like a day cycle. So I could definitely see the Venus cycle being shortened. It just makes sense. However, I would be really curious to see if they still have the ratio correct, where maybe we see, let's say, 243 days. I don't want to do too much math on here, but let's just say that it takes a week of real lifetime for the day-night cycle to go on. And a lot of you might be going, oh, that's ridiculous. I would hate that. Well, what if every week when it hits nighttime, we have, say, I'm just throwing this out there because I speculated with sentience and eidolons before that eidolons could be on multiple planets. What if after a full week, we get a very extensive night cycle where maybe an eidolon comes out and just roams the planet and just wreaks havoc? Or maybe we'll say the spider proxies. Maybe at some point the spider proxies come out and are way more prevalent for, say, 2 or 3 days straight because the cycle is so long. That'll, number one, allow us to do the farming we need. Instead of going out like we do on the Plains of Eidolon and farming the eidolons for just a few minutes and hoping we get as much as we can as quickly as possible, maybe we'll see, 3 days of a night cycle on Venus, or 2 days, or a full day of a night cycle on Venus. I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you want them to explore that option, or do you not want that? I'm curious. I think it would be cool. I honestly thought it would be cool if it was actually real lifetime, and every 243 days we got like a 120-day event, to finish out the rest of the year. I think that'd be dope. I think like if a eidolon came out for like 2 months straight and we could just destroy it and fight it, that would be pretty cool. But anyways, let me know what you think about that. That's just my personal thing. It'd be kind of like a raid every 243 days or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, since we are talking about, actually, we were talking about the open world and the day cycle and all that stuff. Steve mentioned that the way they get this coolant to melt on the planet, because that cycle is so long, is they have mirrors that kind of reflect the light and focus it on the coolant to keep the coolant melted and running these Corpus deals. So that means that the night cycle has to be fairly long, and I'm curious as to, like I said, how they're going to explore that. But I'll leave that there. Hoverboard races. So we know about the hoverboards. Now they have implemented races. They said there are currently 20, and that might be the only number that they end up rolling with, but there are about 20 races across the map that are designed at the moment, and that's pretty exciting. As you do these races and do tricks and stuff while you're doing these races, you will earn standing to build your hoverboards in the future. Sorry, I do not remember the exact name of the hoverboards. If you want to leave that in the comments below, I would appreciate it. But I'll probably Google it later, whatever. So you guys know what it is, probably. And then that standing that I was talking about with the hoverboards is actually going to be tucked away in like a secret room behind a vent. So it's like a young kid who lives up in this ventilation shaft or something, and this is where you're gonna go see your hoverboard, creations and stuff. And he's got this cool art on the wall. I'll actually put a picture up directly showing this art, and this gives me like an old school aesthetic, like a 90s, 80s and 90s aesthetic, some sort, where you would see like giant posters placed up on the wall and just really abstract, cool stuff. But fairly cool. I like it. But these are posted on that wall. And then moving on, basically last major thing for us to talk about is sentient life on Venus. Now, I kind of speculated maybe we could see an Eidolon on other planets. That's still, this still doesn't prove anything about Eidolons whatsoever, but it does show sentient life on Venus. Steve was very adamant about Rebecca getting away from this area and not showing too much, so that's very interesting. She kind of spoiled a little bit for us, but that gives us a lot to kind of go off of, is we can expect at least sentient life on Venus, and maybe we start seeing implementations of this new war quest coming our way and see signs of maybe sentient life becoming more prevalent across the entire system. I don't know. But this is very cool. This is very interesting. Sentient life for sure. Maybe we'll find some hidden Eidolon, ruins or something like that on Venus at some point. But who knows? I wouldn't put it past them to eventually have Eidolons on multiple planets, because they're just ancient sentients. Why would they only be on Earth? That's just all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Some people might say that, they may have brought the sentients to Venus because this is a research center, and it's very possible that these things were not on Venus, and this is just their research center, whatever. But with the amount of ships and and bases that the Corpus probably have across the universe or solar system, whatever, I would doubt that they would fly these sentients from another planet to Venus specifically. But it's possible. It's very possible, but I doubt it. I'm just going to leave it there. That is probably going to be it. Yeah, that's pretty much everything we needed to cover in terms of content. Melee 3.0, I won't really get into it, but they mentioned there are going to be some changes with the quick melee system, just kicking you into basically Melee 3.0, and then as soon as you click and want to fire your weapon, it rotates through very efficiently and quickly between your weapons, and I think that's cool. I'll see how it ends up getting implemented, but that leaves us to wonder what has changed in Melee 3.0, because it seems like they are really they've kind of almost changed their mind about how they want to implement it and do all that stuff. But we can see things like the slam attacks and all that stuff still exist. So we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. People were upset that we didn't get a bigger look into it, but Rebecca was very adamant about saying that there is not a whole lot to show that is concrete. So Melee 3.0 might be a little ways away still. So that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you stopping by and watching for this long. I know it's a long video. I tried to be as quick as possible, but there was so much to talk about. There was a lot of stuff to maybe guess, in terms of speculate on with some of this stuff, but I'm going to leave it there. If you guys do want to jump over in Discord, talk about some of this stuff, or leave anything in the comments below, that would be awesome. The comment section is always a great place to, talk. Discord is a great place to talk to me for sure, because I always have Discord up. And that's going to be it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe for more content. Like would be amazing. But I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Blah!